You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That profound wisdom comes from Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. Think about that for a moment. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, where external forces constantly demand our attention and challenge our peace, the true arena of power, according to Stoicism, isn't out there. It's right here, within us. It's in how we perceive things, how we react, and how we train our own internal landscape. Have you ever felt like you're just being swept along by the current of life, constantly reacting to circumstances, feeling drained or fragile when things don't go as planned? Do you wish you had a deeper well of resilience to draw from? A quiet strength that allows you to face adversity not with dread, but with calm clarity. Modern life is full of stressors, from daily annoyances to significant setbacks. Building resilience isn't just a buzzword. It's a fundamental skill for thriving, for maintaining your well-being and pursuing your goals despite the inevitable challenges. But where do you begin? How do you cultivate that inner fortress Marcus Aurelius spoke of, especially when the demands of the outside world feel so pressing? This isn't about changing the world around you. It's about changing your relationship with it. And Stoicism offers not just abstract philosophy, but incredibly practical, actionable daily habits designed precisely for this purpose. These aren't grand, time-consuming rituals, but simple, powerful practices you can integrate into your everyday life. Imagine facing your day with a greater sense of purpose and preparation, reflecting on your experiences not with judgment, but with a view towards learning and growth. Picture cultivating a deep sense of gratitude for what you have, anchoring yourself in the present moment, and confronting potential difficulties with a premeditated resilience, robbing them of their power before they even arrive. These ancient techniques, honed over centuries, are incredibly relevant today, offering a path to a more stable, peaceful, and robust inner life. In this video, we're going to explore 5 powerful daily habits inspired by Stoic philosophy. These aren't just theoretical concepts. They are practices you can start applying immediately to build that inner strength, to become less reactive and more intentional, to find tranquility amidst the storm, and ultimately, to live a more resilient, fulfilling life, one day, one habit at a time. If you're ready to start building that unshakable inner core, using timeless wisdom to navigate modern challenges, then stay tuned. And while you're here, if you find value in exploring these ideas, please consider giving this video a like, sharing it with someone who might benefit, and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us bring more ancient wisdom into the modern world. Let's dive in. As the sun dips below the horizon and the day's bustle begins to quiet, how do you typically end your hours? Do you scroll endlessly, lose yourself in entertainment, or perhaps just collapse into exhaustion? There's nothing inherently wrong with needing to decompress, but what if there was a powerful practice, one honed by ancient Stoics, that could transform this quiet time into a profound opportunity for growth? This isn't just about winding down, it's about actively building the person you want to be, one day at a time. It's the Stoic habit of the evening review. Think about it, every day is a miniature life. We face challenges, make decisions, interact with others, and navigate our internal landscape of thoughts and feelings. If we don't pause to examine this miniature life, how can we possibly learn from it? The Stoics understood this deeply. They saw the end of the day not as just a stopping point, but as a crucial checkpoint. It was a time for honest, unflinching self-assessment, not self-punishment, mind you, but a calm, rational review of the day's performance. Seneca, in his letters, speaks of sitting down each night and questioning himself. What evil have you cured today? What fault have you conquered? In what respect are you better? He treated it like an auditor reviewing accounts, meticulously checking gains and losses, not just in finances, but in character. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations itself reads very much like a personal daily journal of this very practice, a conversation with himself about his actions, judgments, and how well he lived up to his principles. The goal isn't to beat yourself up for every mistake. The goal is to gain clarity. Where did you trip up? Was it anger that flared unnecessarily? Was it a judgment about someone that was unfair or based on faulty assumptions? Did you act virtuously in a difficult situation, or did you take the easy way out? This review is your personal workshop for character development. You're identifying the cracks in your foundation so you can repair them. You're noticing the patterns that hold you back so you can break them. Epictetus reminds us that philosophy isn't just something you talk about, it's something you do. And this daily review is the doing. It's the practical application of Stoic theory to the messy reality of your own life. It's about looking back at the day and asking, was my guiding principle, my prohairesis, pointed towards virtue? So, how do you actually do this? Find a quiet moment before sleep. You can use a journal, a note on your phone, or simply sit in silence. Ask yourself some direct questions. Seneca suggests variations like, from what fault did I hold back? What temptation did I resist? What passion did I conquer? You might ask, where was I impatient today? Or, did I speak truthfully and kindly? Or, did I dwell on things outside my control, causing unnecessary distress? Focus on 3 key areas. Your actions, what did you do? Your judgments, what did you think or believe about events and people? Your emotions, how did you feel, and were those feelings proportional and rational, or did you give in to irrational impulses? This isn't about judgment in the harsh sense, but about understanding. Understanding why you did what you did, thought what you thought, and felt what you felt. It's data collection for self-improvement. Now let's dive into a practice that, at first glance, might sound a little dark. It's called premeditatio malorum, literally, the premeditation of evils or troubles. Sounds grim, right? Like we're supposed to sit around thinking about all the bad things that could happen. But that's not quite it. This isn't about dwelling in negativity or inviting misfortune. It's about building an inner fortress, brick by brick, before the storm hits. Think of it like a fire drill. Nobody wants a fire, but practicing what to do if one breaks out is crucial. You walk through the steps calmly now, so you don't panic when the alarm blares. Premeditatio malorum is the Stoic equivalent of that mental fire drill. It's a deliberate exercise in contemplating potential difficulties tomorrow, not to worry about them endlessly, but to mentally rehearse how you would face them with Stoic composure. Picture yourself receiving unexpected criticism at work tomorrow. Someone says something sharp, maybe even unfair. Your gut reaction might be anger, defensiveness, frustration. But through this practice, you picture that moment beforehand. You mentally walk through it. You see the situation, feel the initial sting perhaps, but then you practice your response. You see yourself pausing, taking a breath, remembering that their opinion is outside your control, choosing a calm, measured reply, or perhaps choosing not to reply at all. You mentally build the path for a virtuous response before the actual event tries to knock you off balance. Or imagine you misplace something valuable tomorrow. The immediate panic, the rising anxiety. In your premeditation, you practice that scenario. You feel the initial worry, but then you remind yourself of what is truly important. A lost object is just that, an external thing. You rehearse letting go of the attachment, focusing instead on the search itself without emotional turmoil, or accepting the loss with equanimity if it can't be found. It's like an athlete visualizing a challenging part of the game. They don't just hope it goes well. They mentally run through the difficult play, feeling the pressure, but practicing their technique and focus in their mind. This mental rehearsal makes them less likely to freeze or crumble under actual pressure. So, how do you make this practical? It doesn't need to be elaborate. Maybe during your morning reflection or before bed, spend just 5 or 10 minutes. Pick one potential challenge for the next day or week. It could be dealing with a difficult person, facing a potential rejection, experiencing a minor inconvenience like spilled coffee or traffic. Walk through the scenario in your mind, but crucially, focus on your internal reaction and your potential response. What Stoic principle can you apply? How can you choose virtue in that moment? By running these low-stakes mental rehearsals, You gradually desensitize yourself to the shock of misfortune and build a powerful reservoir of mental and emotional resilience. You're not bracing for the worst out of fear. You're preparing for any outcome with strength and wisdom. Life has a way of throwing curveballs, doesn't it? Unexpected challenges, frustrating setbacks, the constant churn of things outside our control. It's easy to feel adrift, tossed about by external forces, but Stoicism offers us an anchor, a steady hand to guide us through the storm. And one of the most practical ways to grasp that anchor is by simply spending time, even just a few minutes each day, with the foundational texts. Think of it like calibrating your internal compass daily. Just as a sailor checks their bearings, we need to check our perspective against timeless wisdom. Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, their writings are not dusty relics, they are living guides. They constantly remind us of the single most liberating idea in Stoicism: the profound difference between what is truly up to us and what is not. Epictetus hammers this home from the very first sentence of his Enchiridion, stating that some things are within our power and some are not. Our opinions, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, these are within our power. Our bodies, possessions, reputation, public office, these are not. When we immerse ourselves in these ideas regularly, perhaps starting our day with a passage from the Meditations or rereading a letter from Seneca, it acts as a powerful mental reset. It helps us internalize this crucial distinction. It's like having a wise friend constantly whispering in your ear, reminding you not to invest your peace in things the world can snatch away. That traffic jam isn't within your control, but your frustration is. That critical comment from a colleague isn't up to you, but your reaction and judgment of it are. These texts don't just offer abstract philosophy. They provide practical tools for navigating the messiness of human experience. They guide us back to virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, temperance, as the only true good, the only thing genuinely within our grasp and inherently valuable. Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself in the trenches of leadership, repeatedly returns to this inner citadel, this focus on his own character and actions, regardless of the chaos around him. By absorbing these lessons daily, we begin to build resilience not by changing the world, but by changing our relationship with it. We learn to focus our energy where it matters most, on cultivating our inner state and acting virtuously, leaving the outcome, the externals, to fate or nature. It's a daily practice of reinforcing what matters and letting go of what doesn't. Have you ever felt like something was missing? Maybe you got that new gadget, achieved that goal, or reached a certain milestone, but the feeling of wanting more or feeling slightly dissatisfied lingered. It's a common human experience, this constant pull towards what we don't have. Our minds are incredibly adept at spotting the gaps, the things that aren't quite perfect, the next item on the wish list. We often fixate on the future, on what we need to acquire or change to finally feel content. But what if true contentment isn't about adding more to your life, but about consciously seeing what's already there? This is a core insight deeply woven into the fabric of Stoic thought. The Stoics understood that our well-being isn't determined by external circumstances, whether we are rich or poor, healthy or ill, loved or alone. It's determined by our perspective, our inner state, how we choose to respond to the world around us. And one of the most powerful tools for shaping that inner state, for shifting our perspective from lack to abundance, is the practice of gratitude. Think about it. When you consciously take a moment to appreciate your health, even if it's just the ability to walk or breathe freely, you're not focusing on potential future illnesses or past ailments. You're acknowledging a profound gift you possess right now. When you feel thankful for the people in your life, a friend, a family member, even a kind stranger, you're not dwelling on loneliness or past hurts. You're valuing the connection you experience in this moment, appreciating the simple things: a warm cup of coffee, the sun on your face, a quiet moment to read. Pulls you out of the endless cycle of wanting and into the reality of what is. Gratitude isn't just a nice feeling. It's an active choice, a mental discipline. It redirects your attention away from what's outside your control, what others have, what you lack, what might happen, and firmly plants it on what is within your control, your own attitude and your ability to perceive the good around you. By choosing to be grateful, you are actively countering the Stoic passions of desire and dissatisfaction. You're training your mind to see the inherent value in things often taken for granted, things that, ironically, we would deeply miss if they were gone. Imagine someone constantly complaining about their old car, wishing they had a new one. They are blind to the fact that the old car reliably gets them where they need to go, providing freedom and convenience many around the world don't have. Their focus on lack blinds them to present abundance. Now picture someone who sees their old car, acknowledges its age, but feels genuine gratitude for its function, for the journeys it enables, for the freedom it provides. Same external object, completely different internal experience. This isn't naive optimism, it's a practical application of Stoic wisdom. It's recognizing that while external things are indifferent, neither good nor bad in themselves, our relationship with them, our attitude towards them, is entirely within our sphere of influence and is crucial for our tranquility. Practicing gratitude daily, even for just a few minutes, is a powerful way to cultivate this perspective, shifting your focus from the shadow of what's missing to the light of what you already hold. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This profound observation comes to us from the Stoic philosopher Seneca. Think about that for a moment. How much of our suffering, our daily struggle, isn't caused by the actual event but by our reaction to it? By the swirl of emotions that can feel overwhelming, consuming, and utterly beyond our control. Have you ever felt completely swept away by anger, frustration, or fear? Like a small inconvenience triggered a massive emotional storm inside you? Have you found yourself making decisions you regret because your feelings took over? Or perhaps felt paralyzed by anxiety, unable to move forward because the weight of potential outcomes felt too heavy? You're not alone. In our fast-paced, ever-changing world, it's easy for emotions to feel like an unpredictable force, dictating our peace of mind and even our actions. But what if there was a way to navigate these powerful feelings, not by suppressing them, but by understanding and managing your response to them? What if you could stand firm amidst the emotional chaos, grounded and centered? This is precisely where the ancient wisdom of Stoicism offers a powerful, practical path. It's a philosophy not just of abstract thought, but of living, of building resilience, and of cultivating inner peace regardless of external circumstances. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we have immense power over how we react. It provides a framework, a set of tools and techniques developed over centuries to help us understand our emotional landscape, challenge irrational thoughts, and cultivate virtues that lead to tranquility and strength. In this video, we're going to explore these ancient principles and discover how to apply them directly to the overwhelming emotions you might be experiencing today. We'll dive into practical methods used by Stoics to manage reactions, reduce suffering, and gain a lasting sense of calm and control. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming the architect of your inner world, building a mindset that is robust, adaptable, and genuinely free. Prepare to uncover actionable strategies that can transform your relationship with your emotions and pave the way for greater success and peace in your life. Stay tuned as we begin this journey into mastering your emotional world with Stoicism. Before we get started, if you find this exploration of Stoicism helpful and believe in the power of ancient wisdom to transform modern lives, please consider giving this video a like. Sharing it helps these ideas reach more people who could benefit. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our future deep dives into building a stronger mind and a better life through philosophy. Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed by the world around you, like the news, other people's decisions, or sudden unexpected events just crash over you, leaving you anxious, angry, or completely helpless? We live in a time where we're constantly bombarded with information about things we have absolutely no power over. The economy, politics, what some random person on the internet thinks. It's easy to feel adrift, tossed about by forces far greater than ourselves. And this feeling, this constant state of reacting to the external, is a major source of our suffering. The ancient Stoics understood this perfectly. They didn't have the internet, but they had plagues, political upheaval, and the unpredictable nature of life just the same. One of the foundational pillars of Stoicism, a truth that Epictetus himself put right at the very beginning of his Enchiridion, is the distinction between what is within our control and what is not. He wrote, "Some things are in our control and others are not. Things in our control are judgment, impulse, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and in a word, whatever are not our own actions." Think about that for a moment. This isn't just a philosophical concept. It's a radical reorientation of where we place our focus and energy. What is genuinely in your control? It's your mind. It's your thoughts, your judgments about things, your immediate reactions before you even process them. It's your intentions, your values, the effort you choose to put in, the character you cultivate. These are the things you have direct access to, the levers you can actually pull. What is not in your control? Almost everything else. The weather, other people's opinions of you, whether you get that promotion or not, your health declining despite your best efforts, the traffic on your morning commute, the outcome of a situation, even if you put in perfect effort. Seneca wisely observed how much needless pain we cause ourselves by worrying about things that lie outside our sphere of influence. We suffer more in imagination than in reality, often because we're fixated on external results we can't guarantee. The Stoics teach us that true freedom and tranquility come from understanding and internalizing this distinction. When you internalize it, you stop fruitlessly trying to manipulate the uncontrollable external world and instead focus on mastering your inner world. You recognize that while you cannot control events, you can control your response to them. You can choose how you interpret a setback, how you react to an insult, whether you allow fear of the future to paralyze you. Practically, this means catching yourself when you feel distress. Pause, ask yourself, is this thing causing me pain something I have direct control over? Can I change it with a simple act of my will right now? If the answer is no, and for most sources of worry, it is, then the Stoic path is to shift your focus inward. Instead of agonizing over the external problem itself, examine your judgment about it. Is your judgment wise? Is it accurate? Is it serving you? This shift isn't about becoming passive or indifferent. It's about strategic wisdom. You still take action in the world, but your focus is on acting virtuously and wisely based on what is within your power, your effort, your integrity, your rational judgment, rather than being emotionally invested in or dependent on the outcome, which is always up to fortune or external factors. By consistently practicing this, by focusing your mental energy exclusively on your thoughts, intentions, and actions, you dramatically reduce the grip that external worries have on your peace of mind. You become less vulnerable to the whims of the world and more resilient from within. Imagine this scenario: you're driving and someone cuts you off. Instantly, you feel that surge of anger, maybe frustration, perhaps even a sense of injustice. Your heart races, your jaw tightens. It feels like they did something to make you angry, right? The event itself, being cut off, seems like the direct cause of your unpleasant emotion. But what if the Stoics tell us that's not entirely accurate? What if the feeling of anger didn't actually come from the car that zipped in front of you, but from something else entirely? Think of it like this: two different people experience the exact same event, being cut off in traffic. One person gets furious, honks the horn, maybe mutters some choice words. The other person simply sighs, checks their mirrors, and maintains a safe distance, feeling maybe a mild annoyance but nothing overwhelming. The external event was identical. The difference lies within them. It lies in their judgment about the event. This is a cornerstone of Stoic thought. Epictetus put it simply: it's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. Your anger didn't come from the car cutting you off. It came from your judgment that the driver was rude, inconsiderate, perhaps intentionally malicious, or that you were somehow disrespected or put in danger unnecessarily. The car itself has no emotional power. It's your interpretation of its action that sparks the feeling. So, the first practical step when you feel overwhelmed by a negative emotion, whether it's anger, anxiety, sadness, or frustration, is to pause and become a detective of your own mind. Ask yourself, what is the specific judgment I am making about this situation? Don't just focus on the event itself, but on the story you're telling yourself about the event. Are you telling yourself this is unfair, that someone is deliberately trying to harm or offend you, that this means you're not good enough, or that everything is going wrong? These judgments often stem from deeply held, sometimes unconscious, beliefs about how the world should be, how people should act, or how you should be treated. When reality bumps up against these unexamined beliefs, negative emotions bubble up. For instance, the belief people should always be considerate drivers clashes with being cut off, producing anger. The belief, I must always be in control, clashes with an unexpected problem at work, producing anxiety. Once you've identified the specific judgment or belief, this person is deliberately disrespecting me, or this unexpected change means disaster, the next crucial Stoic step is to question it. Just because you think something is true doesn't mean it is true, or that it's the only possible interpretation. Is it absolutely a fact that the driver intended to disrespect you personally? Perhaps they were rushing to an emergency, or distracted, or simply made a mistake without any malicious intent towards you specifically. Is it absolutely true that this unexpected work problem means disaster, or does it simply mean there's a challenge to be addressed? Questioning doesn't mean denying reality. The car did cut you off, the problem does exist. But questioning dismantles your interpretation of reality that is fueling the emotional fire. This process of identifying the judgment and questioning its validity creates a vital space between the external event and your emotional reaction. It allows you to see that you have a choice in how you respond internally. Alright, let's dive into a cornerstone Stoic practice that might sound counterintuitive at first glance. It's the idea of actively contemplating difficulties, setbacks, and misfortunes before they happen. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. Now, this isn't about being a pessimist, constantly expecting the worst to depress yourself. Far from it, it's about inoculating your mind against the shock of negative events. Think of it like a fire drill. You don't run fire drills because you want a fire. You run them so that if a fire occurs, you and everyone else know exactly what to do, and panic is minimized. The shock is reduced because you've already mentally walked through the scenario. Seneca, in his letters, often touched on this. He encouraged contemplating poverty, exile, pain, or illness, not morbidly, but as possibilities of life. He would reflect on losing his wealth, his status, or even his life. Why? Because if you've already mentally lived through the possibility of losing something important, the actual loss, should it occur, lands on a prepared mind. It's like expecting cold water before you jump into a pool, rather than being suddenly shocked by it. That sudden shock is often worse than the cold itself. The Stoics understood that a significant part of our suffering comes not from the event itself, but from our unexpected and unprepared reaction to it. Consider a modern scenario. You have a crucial presentation or a difficult conversation coming up. Instead of just hoping for the best, the Stoic approach involves taking a few moments to consider how it could go wrong. What if you forget your lines? What if they react negatively? What if you face tough questions you can't answer immediately? By thinking these through, you begin to diffuse the emotional bomb these possibilities might otherwise plant in your mind. You might even start thinking about how you would respond in those situations. You're not wishing for failure. You're simply acknowledging that things outside your control can happen, and you're mentally rehearsing your resilience. This mental preparation acts as a kind of armor. When the difficulty arises, and it invariably will in some form, your mind doesn't seize up with panic or fear. It's already visited this potential future, and while it's not pleasant, it's not entirely unfamiliar territory. The emotional turbulence is significantly lessened, allowing you to respond more rationally and effectively, rather than being overwhelmed by the initial wave of shock and anxiety. This practice isn't about attracting negativity. It's about building mental fortitude so that when negativity arrives, you are not crushed by it, but can stand firm, maintaining your inner peace and your ability to act in accordance with your values. Have you ever felt that tiring inner conflict, like you're constantly at odds with yourself, unsure which way to go or why you did something after the fact? This lack of inner alignment is incredibly draining. It makes life feel uncertain, unstable, like you're navigating without a clear, reliable guide. The Stoics understood this deeply. They proposed a powerful solution: cultivating the four cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These aren't just ideals. They're the components of your stable, essential inner compass, designed precisely to align your actions with your deepest values and eliminate that inner turmoil. This compass works by guiding your actions. Wisdom guides your judgment and choices towards genuine good. Justice guides your conduct in relation to others. Courage guides you through difficulty and fear. Temperance guides your impulses towards moderation. When you act based on these virtues, using them as your standard, you bring your outer behavior into harmony with your inner core. This alignment dissolves much of that internal conflict. No longer a disconnect between principles and actions, you become integrated and stable. Following this inner compass provides a clear, unwavering direction, freeing you from turmoil and leading to peace. Now, let's turn our attention to a fundamental pillar of Stoic practice, a concept the Stoics called prosage. Think of prosage as mindful attention, but specifically, a vigilant awareness of your inner landscape. It's like being the watchman at the gate of your mind. This isn't just about paying casual attention. It's a dedicated, conscious effort to observe what thoughts and feelings are entering and moving through you. Epictetus taught that our judgments are what truly disturb us, not external events themselves. The world happens, things occur, but it's how we interpret those things, the story we tell ourselves about them, that creates our emotional reaction. Prosage is the tool that allows us to see these interpretations for what they are: just thoughts, just impressions, not absolute truth. Imagine your mind as a river. Thoughts, emotions, impulses flow downstream constantly. Without prosage, you're just swept along by the current, reacting instantly to whatever comes your way. Someone says something that annoys you, and immediately, bam, anger flares up, words fly out. You see something you want, and immediately, grab, purchase, consume. There's no gap, no moment of choice. Prosage creates that crucial space. It's like stepping onto the riverbank for a moment. You can still see the river flowing. You acknowledge the thoughts and feelings, but you're not in the current. You observe the anger, the desire, the fear, without immediately becoming it or acting on it. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about examining his impressions, testing them to see if they held up, or if they were merely fleeting or based on faulty judgments. He practiced this internal observation constantly. This pause, this space between the impulse and the response, is where our freedom lies. It's like hitting the pause button on a remote control. The scene is frozen for a second, giving you just enough time to decide if you want to press play and continue down the default path, or if you want to choose a different scene, a different action. So, how do you cultivate this prosage? It starts with simple awareness exercises. Taking a moment to notice your breath when you feel overwhelmed. Before reacting to that annoying email, pause. Just pause. Feel the physical sensations of the emotion without immediately analyzing or acting. Acknowledge the thought. "Oh, I'm having a thought that this is unfair." Or, "I'm feeling frustrated right now." You're not judging the thought or feeling, just labeling it, seeing it as a distinct object of awareness. This practice weakens the automatic link between impulse and action. It's a skill that takes consistent effort, like strengthening a muscle. But with practice, this mindful attention becomes your internal compass, guiding you not by blind reaction, but by considered, wise response. So we've explored powerful principles today. We looked at controlling our focus, questioning our initial judgments, the importance of preparing for challenges, striving to live a life guided by virtue, and the profound strength found in simply being present. We touched on applying these timeless tools and the ongoing practice needed to master our emotions. But here's the crucial point: knowing these ideas, hearing about them, even understanding them intellectually, is only the very beginning of the journey. Stoicism isn't a philosophy to be studied from a distance. It's a way of life to be lived, moment by moment. The true power lies not in the wisdom itself, but in your willingness and commitment to apply it, consistently, in the messy reality of your daily life. This is where the real transformation happens, the decision to pause before reacting, the effort to identify what is truly within your control and deliberately let go of what isn't. The conscious choice to see an obstacle not as a setback, but as an opportunity to practice patience, courage, or resilience. This is the hard, rewarding work of building your inner citadel, brick by brick. It's about mastering your own internal landscape, your thoughts, your reactions, your emotional responses, not by suppressing them, but by understanding them and guiding them with reason and wisdom. This path to self-mastery is the heart of Stoicism in action. It requires courage, introspection, and above all, consistent practice. It's not about becoming emotionless. It's about developing the wisdom to understand your emotions and the strength to act in accordance with your highest values, regardless of external circumstances or internal turmoil. So, I encourage you to take a moment now. Look inward. Which of these principles feels most challenging for you right now? Where can you make one small, conscious effort to apply a Stoic tool in the next 24 hours? Start small. Be patient with yourself. This is a lifelong journey of growth and refinement. The power to live with greater peace, resilience, and purpose is already within you. Applying these principles simply helps you unlock it. If this message resonated with you, if you're committed to this path of self-mastery and living a more virtuous life, please consider hitting that like button. It helps this wisdom reach more people who are searching for it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to join our growing community dedicated to applying ancient wisdom in the modern world. Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Your insights can inspire others. Thank you for joining me on this part of the journey today. May your practice bring you clarity, strength, and profound inner peace. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's a quote from the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, Marcus Aurelius. Think about that for a moment. In a world constantly throwing challenges at us, doesn't it often feel like obstacles just keep piling up? Like life is actively blocking our path, making progress impossible. But what if Marcus was right? What if those very blocks, those struggles, were actually the key to moving forward? What if the difficulty wasn't something to be avoided, but something to be embraced, even used as fuel? Do you ever feel overwhelmed by things outside your control, anxious about the future, frustrated by people or circumstances you simply can't change, longing for a deeper sense of peace and resilience in the face of it all? For centuries, people have faced these same timeless struggles, grappling with uncertainty, loss, and frustration. And for just as long, an ancient philosophy has offered a powerful roadmap for navigating them. Not through escaping the world, but through mastering ourselves within it. This isn't just dusty philosophy from old books. Stoicism is a practical operating system for your mind, offering proven methods to build unshakable inner strength and find calm amidst the chaos of modern life. It's about unlocking ancient wisdom that's startlingly relevant today, giving us concrete tools for genuine resilience and lasting peace, no matter what comes our way. In this video, we're going to dive deep into some of these incredibly powerful, practical tools that the Stoics have given us. Methods that can help you fundamentally shift how you see the world and your place in it. Ways to prepare your mind for whatever life throws your way so you're not caught off guard. Techniques to help you master what you absolutely can control. Truly understand yourself through honest reflection, and yes, even transform those seemingly insurmountable obstacles that stand in your path into stepping stones for growth. Get ready to explore how these ancient insights can profoundly reshape your approach to challenges, big and small, and empower you to live a more fulfilled and tranquil life, starting today. If you're ready to start building that inner fortress and unlock this timeless wisdom for your own life, hit that like button, share this video with someone you think could benefit from hearing this message, and definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more practical philosophy and insights like these. Have you ever felt completely crushed by the weight of your worries? Like every single problem, every small annoyance, every future uncertainty piles up into an insurmountable mountain, blocking out the sun. It's easy to get lost in the immediate, the urgent, the right now. We get so zoomed in on our troubles that they seem monumental, overwhelming, the only thing that exists. This is where Stoicism offers a powerful, almost breathtaking technique. It's the practice of cultivating the cosmic perspective. Imagine, for a moment, that you could rise above it all. Not physically, but mentally. Picture yourself floating upwards, away from your house, your street, your city. You keep going, past the borders of your state, your country, seeing the continent spread out below. Higher still, you see the entire Earth, a beautiful, fragile marble spinning in the void. From this vantage point, where are your specific problems? That annoying email from your boss? The argument you had? The bill that's due? They are still there, of course, but they shrink. They become tiny specks against the vastness of the planet, the solar system, the galaxy. This isn't about denying your difficulties. It's about recontextualizing them. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, often practiced this. In his meditations, he writes about viewing things as if from above, seeing the great herds of men, the armies marching, the ships sailing, the sheer scale of human activity across time and space. He saw the transient nature of things, how quickly things rise and fall, how small individual lives and concerns are in the grand scheme. This perspective doesn't belittle your feelings, it liberates you from being consumed by them. It helps you see that while your problem is real to you, in the context of everything else, it is temporary and relatively insignificant. Seneca spoke of this too, reminding us of the brevity of life and the immense span of time, making our present anxieties seem fleeting. So, how do you actually do this when you're caught in the storm of anxiety? It takes practice, like any mental exercise. When you feel overwhelmed, consciously pause. Close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath. Then, intentionally begin that mental ascent. Visualize your surroundings getting smaller. See the bigger picture. Another way to practice this is physically looking up at the night sky. Gaze at the stars. Think about their distance, their age, the unimaginable scale of the universe. It's hard to maintain a death grip on petty worries when you're contemplating cosmic distances. This practice doesn't eliminate challenges, but it removes their power to paralyze you. It brings a quiet calmness, a reminder that life is much larger than this one difficulty you face right now. It helps you regain your footing and approach the problem with a clearer, less fearful mind. It allows you to see the path forward, rather than just the obstacle. We often fall into a trap of taking the best things in life for granted, don't we? Health, loved ones, basic comforts, they fade into the background of routine. The Stoics saw this and taught a powerful antidote: contemplate loss. It's called negative visualization, but it's not about dwelling on sadness or becoming pessimistic. It's about deliberately imagining life without something you value, purely to appreciate its presence now. Think of everything you cherish, your relationships, your health, your home, maybe even certain possessions, as beautiful, fragile items on loan to you. How would you treat them if you knew they could be reclaimed at any moment, perhaps without warning? With immense care, gratitude, and appreciation, wouldn't you? This is the core mechanism. By imagining something gone, its current presence feels incredibly precious and fragile, snapping you out of complacency. Picture yourself having a simple conversation with a loved one, perhaps over coffee or on the phone. Pause for a moment. Now, Imagine they were suddenly gone from your life. Truly imagine it. Picture the silence where their voice used to be. Feel the void their absence would create. That powerful feeling. That's the immense value of their presence hitting you with full force. It's a stark, powerful reminder of how much they mean and how easily we can overlook that deep significance in the rush of daily life. This mental exercise transforms ordinary interactions into moments ripe with profound gratitude. This practice isn't dwelling on the negative or inviting bad fortune. It's a positive, practical tool to sharpen your appreciation for the present reality. By briefly contemplating the possibility of losing something you hold dear, your health, your home, your job, or a loved one, you jolt yourself into recognizing the sheer good fortune you have today. It's like truly feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin because you take a moment to remember how cold and dark a cloudy day can be. Regularly incorporating this practice, even for just a minute or two each day, cultivates a deeper, more robust sense of gratitude for your current reality. It makes you more present in your interactions with people and more appreciative of the simple gifts and comforts in your life. And crucially, it builds psychological resilience. By mentally facing the potential for loss in a controlled, thoughtful way, you lessen its terrifying power if it ever occurs. You learn to cherish the good fortune you have right now, not by anxiously clinging to it, but by appreciating its value in the present moment. This Stoic technique doesn't make you fear the future. It helps you live with richer gratitude and reduced anxiety about the uncertain road ahead. Perhaps the single most powerful idea, the bedrock principle that underpins the entire structure of Stoic philosophy, is what they call the dichotomy of control. It's a fancy term for a remarkably simple, yet profoundly challenging concept. At its heart, it's the understanding that some things in life are entirely up to us, within our power and influence, while others are not. And the Stoics teach that wisdom, freedom, and tranquility stem from recognizing this distinction and focusing our energy solely on what is within our domain. Think about it like being an archer. When you knock the arrow, draw the bow, take aim, and release, all of that, the preparation, the technique, the execution of your part, is entirely up to you. That's within your control, but once the arrow leaves the bow, whether a gust of wind alters its path, whether the target moves, or whether some unforeseen obstacle appears, those external factors are completely outside your control. They are not up to you. Too often, we expend immense energy, emotion, and anxiety trying to control the trajectory of the arrow after it's left our hands, worrying about the outcome, obsessing over external circumstances. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, were crystal clear on this. As Epictetus says in the very first lines of his handbook, the Enchiridion, some things are up to us and some things are not up to us. What is up to us? Our judgments, our desires, our aversions, our intentions, our thoughts, our values, in short, everything that is our own doing. What is not up to us? Our body, our possessions, our reputation, positions of power, other people, and ultimately, the outcomes of our actions in the external world. Trying to control what is not up to you, the Stoics argue, is like trying to cup water with your bare hands. It will always slip through your fingers, leaving you frustrated and exhausted. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, constantly reminded himself in his private journal, the Meditations, to focus on his inner citadel, his own mind and character, recognizing that externals held no power over his true well-being unless he granted them that power through his judgments. He understood that while he couldn't control the challenges of ruling an empire or the unpredictable nature of life, he could control how he responded to them, what he made of them, and whether he acted virtuously despite them. This distinction, this clear line drawn between the inner and the outer, between what we can influence directly and what we cannot, is not about passive resignation. It's about strategic energy management. It's about directing your limited mental and emotional resources toward the fertile ground of your own character and actions, where your efforts can actually bear fruit, rather than scattering them on the barren soil of trying to manipulate an uncontrollable external world. It's freeing yourself from the anxiety of outcomes by focusing on the integrity of your effort and intention. When you truly grasp this, the weight of the world doesn't disappear, but your relationship to it fundamentally changes. You stop tilting at windmills. You become the archer focused on the perfect shot, accepting that the final landing spot is not entirely yours to command, finding peace in the excellence of your own execution. Okay, so we've talked about some core Stoic ideas, but how do we actually live them? How do we take these principles and apply them in the messy reality of our daily lives? One of the most practical, powerful tools, a practice deeply rooted in Stoicism itself, is journaling. It might sound simple, maybe even a bit old-fashioned, but the Stoics knew its power. Think about Marcus Aurelius writing his Meditations. That was essentially his personal journal, his reflection space. This practice isn't just about recording events, it's about auditing your internal world. It's your daily check-in with yourself. It's about cultivating radical self-awareness, which is absolutely crucial for any kind of personal growth. Imagine your mind as a constant stream of thoughts, feelings, and impulses. Without stopping to look closely, they can flow past, unnoticed, or worse, they can carry you away like a strong current. Journaling is like stepping onto the bank, pausing and observing that stream. You write down that feeling of irritation you had in traffic. You explore why it unsettled you. Was it the delay itself, or your judgment that the other driver was deliberately rude? Was it impatience? By writing it down, you create distance between you and the emotion. You gain perspective. You start to see your reactions not just as happening to you, but as things you are doing. What should you focus on when you write? Don't feel pressured to create literary masterpieces. The value is in the introspection. Ask yourself how you felt, what challenged you, and importantly, how you responded. Did you face a difficult person or situation? Did you remember your Stoic training to focus on your response, your attitude, rather than the external event? Write about moments you successfully applied a principle, no matter how small. Maybe you chose patience instead of anger. Document it. Also, write about the moments you failed. When did you get swept away by emotion? When did you react impulsively? These failures are not reasons for self-criticism, but valuable data points for learning and improvement. Consider your journal your mental training log. Just as an athlete records their workouts, their times, their form, you record your mental and emotional reps. You track your responses. You begin to notice patterns in your thinking and behavior. Every time I encounter this kind of situation, I tend to feel that way. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to changing them. It's like shining a light into the often dark corners of your subconscious. This self-examination, this consistent practice of looking inward, is how you build profound self-awareness. This practice isn't about judging yourself, it's about understanding yourself. It's about seeing clearly where your values align with your actions and where they don't. It helps you identify your triggers, your automatic reactions, and the unexamined beliefs that drive them. It's a safe space to be completely honest with yourself. This level of clarity is foundational for Stoic self-mastery. You can't change what you don't understand, and journaling provides that deep understanding. It's where you do the hard, necessary work of internal exploration, paving the way for genuine growth. So, how do you start this powerful habit? It doesn't need to be elaborate. A simple notebook and pen, or a digital document. 5 minutes in the morning, setting an intention for the day through a Stoic lens, or 5 minutes in the evening, reflecting on how the day went and how you navigated its challenges. The key is consistency. Don't aim for perfect prose. Aim for honest reflection. Just the act of externalizing your inner world, even for a few minutes, can bring incredible clarity and set you firmly on the path towards greater self-awareness and control. We all face obstacles in life. That unexpected setback at work, the frustrating traffic jam when you're late, a difficult conversation you have to have. Our natural reaction is often annoyance, frustration, seeing these things as problems, roadblocks preventing us from getting where we want to go. They seem like interruptions, hindrances, things we just wish would disappear so we could get back to the real path. But what if those obstacles aren't roadblocks at all? What if they are the path itself? What if the difficulty is not the enemy, but the material you need to work with? This is a core, transformative idea in Stoicism. The Stoics didn't just tolerate obstacles, they actively welcomed them as essential parts of the journey. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Think about that. The very thing stopping you is precisely what moves you forward, if you know how to use it. It's like a river flowing around a rock. The rock is the impediment, but the river uses the rock's resistance to carve a new path, maintaining its flow and momentum. The rock doesn't stop the river, it directs it, shaping its course. For the Stoics, every obstacle, every challenge, is a tailor-made opportunity to practice the virtues. Patience when things are slow, courage when faced with fear, wisdom when you need to understand a complex problem, justice when dealing with difficult people, temperance when resisting impulses to react negatively. Consider an athlete training for a marathon, or the tough, long runs in the rain, the aching muscles, the moments of wanting to quit, obstacles to becoming a better runner. No, they are the means by which they become a better runner. Lifting heavy weights isn't an obstacle to getting stronger, it is the very activity that builds strength. The resistance is the training. So, how do we apply this? When you encounter a challenge, big or small, pause. Don't immediately fall into the trap of complaining or wishing it away. Instead, ask yourself, what virtue does this situation demand of me right now? If you're stuck in traffic, it's not an obstacle to your destination. It's an opportunity to practice patience. If you're facing a scary decision, it's not an obstacle to peace of mind. It's an opportunity to practice courage. If someone is being unreasonable, it's not an obstacle to harmony. It's an opportunity to practice understanding and temperance in your reaction. What is truly within your control in this moment? Not the obstacle itself, but your response to it, your judgment about it, your choice to practice virtue through it. This reframing is not passive acceptance, it is active engagement. It is seeing the challenge as the gym floor where your character gets stronger. So, we've walked through some of the most practical and profound methods the Stoics offered us. We've looked at how stepping back to see the cosmic perspective can shrink our worries, how negative visualization can foster gratitude, and why understanding the dichotomy of control is the ultimate key to peace. We touched on journaling as a path to self-awareness and seeing obstacles not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth and practice. These aren't just abstract concepts. They are a powerful toolkit forged in the crucible of ancient wisdom, designed to help us build unshakable inner strength and live a life rich in virtue, no matter the external circumstances. But here's the critical point. Knowing about these methods is merely the first step on the path. Reading about them, watching videos like this one, is important for understanding the philosophy. But the true power, the real transformation, lies in applying them, consistently and diligently, in the messy, unpredictable reality of your daily life. Stoicism isn't a spectator sport, it's a practice. It demands active participation. It requires you to pick up these tools and use them when you're faced with frustration, loss, uncertainty, or even moments of quiet contemplation. It's in the doing, in the application, that the principles move from being interesting ideas to becoming part of who you are. It's in facing a difficult conversation and remembering the dichotomy of control, choosing your response. It's in a moment of anxiety and deliberately practicing cosmic perspective to gain distance. It's in journaling about your day to identify where you slipped and where you practiced virtue. I encourage you now to pause and reflect. Look inward. Think about a challenge you are currently navigating, big or small. Perhaps it's a difficult relationship, a stressful work situation, a personal setback, or even just the daily annoyances. Which of these tools, which of these Stoic ideas, feels most relevant to that specific challenge? Which one could you commit to practicing just once today or this week? Don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. Start small, choose one method that resonates with you and try to integrate it into your routine. Maybe it's 5 minutes of journaling before bed, consciously practicing negative visualization during your commute, or simply reminding yourself of the dichotomy of control when you feel overwhelmed. This consistent effort, this deliberate application of wisdom, is how you truly begin to build that inner citadel the Stoics spoke of. This journey requires patience and persistence, but the rewards are immense. Greater resilience, a deeper sense of peace, and a life lived in closer alignment with your highest values. You have the tools now. The next step is yours to take. If this exploration into Stoic methods resonated with you, if it sparked something within, please consider giving this video a like. It helps spread these valuable ideas to others who might benefit from them. And if you're committed to continuing this journey of learning and applying ancient wisdom for modern life, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Join the conversation in the comments below. Share which of these methods you find most challenging or most effective, or how you plan to apply them this week. Your insights and experiences enrich this community for everyone. Thank you for spending this time with me, exploring these timeless principles. May your journey towards inner strength and a virtuous life be fruitful and filled with peaceful purpose. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius, a powerful reminder from the great emperor and philosopher came. But how often do we truly live this truth in our day-to-day lives? Do you ever feel like you're genuinely striving for Stoic tranquility, consciously working to cultivate inner peace and resilience, but something keeps subtly pulling you off course? Like you're making an effort to apply Stoic principles, taking one step forward, but then something happens, a situation arises, and you feel like you've taken 2 steps back, and you can't quite figure out the root cause? Could it be that you're unknowingly building habits, right now, in your everyday reactions and thinking, that work directly against those very goals you're trying to achieve? The path to Stoic tranquility, to that calm resilience and inner strength we admire in figures like Epictetus or Seneca, isn't always blocked by grand, life-altering tragedies or overwhelming external chaos. More often than not, it's subtly undermined by the small, repetitive actions and reactions we fall into without even thinking. These aren't just random quirks or occasional slips in judgment. They can become habits, deeply ingrained patterns in our behavior and thinking, that actively work against core Stoic principles like focusing on what's within our control, accepting what is, and practicing virtue. What we're calling, for the sake of clarity and focus today, anti-Stoic habits. Habits like constantly complaining about things you absolutely cannot control, like the weather, traffic, or other people's behavior. Habits like needing validation or praise from others to feel truly worthy or secure. Habits like letting every minor inconvenience or perceived slight trigger intense emotional reactivity, instantly losing your composure. Habits like constantly chasing the next fleeting pleasure or distraction, rather than finding contentment in the present moment. Or habits like getting perpetually stuck dwelling on past mistakes, regrets, and hypotheticals you can't change, rather than focusing on the present action. These behaviors might seem relatively harmless on their own, or just part of being human in a chaotic world, but they can become subtle, yet incredibly powerful, roadblocks on your journey towards a more virtuous, rational, and tranquil life guided by Stoic wisdom. Understanding these subtle, often unconscious, behaviors is the absolutely crucial first step towards overcoming them. They are not inherent flaws to be ashamed of, but rather deeply ingrained patterns that need to be honestly identified and consciously navigated. And once we shine a light on these anti-Stoic habits, once we become fully aware of their presence, how they manifest, and their impact on our inner state, we gain the power, the strength Marcus Aurelius spoke of, to make a conscious choice to respond differently, to act differently, and to start building new habits that truly align with living a more philosophical and resilient life. In this video, we're going to delve deep into 5 common, anti-Stoic habits that might be quietly sabotaging your efforts to cultivate inner peace and live according to Stoic principles. We'll explore what they are in practical terms, why they feel so natural and comfortable to fall into, and precisely why recognizing them is absolutely essential if you are serious about putting Stoicism into practical, daily application in the modern world. If you're ready to identify these subtle obstacles and start building habits that truly support your pursuit of tranquility, resilience, and virtue, stick around. And while you're here, if you find this video helpful in any way, please take a moment to give it a like. Share it with someone else on their Stoic journey who might benefit from recognizing these habits, and subscribe to the channel for more insights on applying ancient philosophy to the challenges and opportunities of modern living. You know that feeling, right? When things just don't go your way. The train is late, the weather is bad, someone else makes a mistake that impacts you. What's our first reaction? Often, it's to complain. We vent, we mutter, we get frustrated. It feels natural in the moment, but does complaining change the train schedule? Does it stop the rain? Does it magically fix someone else's actions? No, all it does is drain your energy, increase your stress, and leave you feeling powerless. You're spending precious mental resources on things you simply cannot control. This is where a core Stoic principle becomes incredibly relevant: the dichotomy of control. Taught powerfully by Epictetus, it states that some things are up to us, and others are not. What's up to us? Our judgments, desires, aversions, and actions, our inner world. What's not up to us? Almost everything else: our body, possessions, reputation, other people, external events like traffic or weather. When we complain about things like traffic, the economy, other people's behavior, or external circumstances, we're focusing entirely on that second category: things not up to us. The Stoics saw this as a major source of unhappiness. Why waste effort on what you cannot change? Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself in his meditations to focus only on his inner state and virtuous action, understanding that externals are beyond our direct control. Complaining about them is not just ineffective, it anchors you to feelings of powerlessness. So, how do we break this habit? The Stoic response is acceptance, not resignation, but realistic recognition of what is. The train is late, accept that fact. The weather is bad, accept that fact. That person did what they did, accept it. Once you accept the external reality, immediately shift your focus inward. Where is your control now? Your control is in your judgment of the situation, your attitude, and your response. Can you choose patience? Can you choose to adjust your plans? Can you choose a calm reaction instead of anger? This takes practice. The next time you feel the urge to complain about an external, pause. Breathe. Mentally note, this is an external, not up to me. Then, pivot inward. What is up to me right now? How should I judge this? What virtuous action or reaction can I choose? By consistently redirecting your energy from the uncontrollable external to your controllable internal response, you weaken the habit of complaining and build inner strength. It's not about suppressing feelings entirely, but about wisely choosing where your energy is directed. Alright, let's talk about a habit that keeps so many of us feeling like we're constantly chasing a mirage. It's the habit of seeking external validation. Picture yourself, you do something you think is good. Maybe you share an idea, create something, or even just dress a certain way. And then what happens? Do you find yourself immediately scanning for reactions, waiting for the nod of approval, the thumbs up, the positive comment? Do you feel a little hollow if it doesn't come, or a surge of temporary high if it does? This is the engine of external validation driving your sense of self-worth. Imagine your worth isn't a sturdy foundation built within you, but a flimsy flag planted on shifting sands, constantly needing propping up by the winds of other people's opinions. When someone praises you, the flag stands tall. When they criticize or ignore you, it crumbles. How exhausting is that? How unstable. Your sense of value becomes a prisoner to the ever-changing moods and arbitrary judgments of others. Think about it. If your worth is determined by what someone else thinks, are you truly free? Are you truly in control of how you feel about yourself? The Stoics saw this trap clearly. They understood that basing your worth on externals, on things outside of your control like reputation or praise, leaves you incredibly vulnerable. It's like trying to power your house by plugging into your neighbor's unpredictable electricity supply. One minute you're lit up, the next you're in the dark. The Stoic counter, the alternative they offer, is powerful and liberating. They say your true worth, your inherent value, doesn't come from what others think of you, or even from what you have. It comes from cultivating virtue and exercising your reason. Virtue here isn't just about being good in a narrow sense. It's about developing your character, focusing on wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. It's about making choices aligned with reason and your best self, regardless of the outcome or how it's received. Your value, from a Stoic perspective, is inherent in your capacity to reason, to choose virtue, and to live in accordance with nature, which includes your own rational nature. It's like realizing you have your own internal power generator, always available, always reliable. So, how do you shift from seeking validation externally to finding it internally? It starts with a conscious redirect. When you feel that pull to check for approval, pause. Ask yourself, what was my intention in doing this? Was it virtuous? Did I act according to my values? Focus on the process and your effort and your intentions, rather than the result or the reception. Practice evaluating yourself based on your own internal standard of reason and virtue, not the fluctuating external standard of popular opinion. Think of a craftsman. Their satisfaction comes from the quality of their work, the skill they applied, not just the applause from the audience. Your work is your character, your choices, your responses to life. Begin to notice when you feel good about yourself. Is it when someone compliments you? Or is it when you know you acted with integrity? When you were just? When you were courageous in the face of difficulty, even if no one else saw it? The Stoic path is about building that internal citadel of self-worth. It's about recognizing that your value is like the sun. It shines brightly from within, regardless of whether clouds, other people's opinions, temporarily obscure it. It's about moving your focus from the reflection in the mirror held up by others, to the substance of your own being, shaped by your choices and your character. This takes practice, but it's the path to unshakable self-respect. So, let's talk about the third common habit that keeps many of us feeling adrift. It's the habit of being utterly enslaved by intense emotions. You know the feeling. Anger flares up instantly when someone cuts you off in traffic. Fear paralyzes you when faced with uncertainty. These powerful passions grab the steering wheel, flooring the accelerator, often driving you into regrettable actions or painful internal states. It's like being tossed about on a stormy sea with no sail or rudder, completely at the mercy of the waves of emotion. You react automatically, impulsively, without a moment's pause for reflection. The Stoics saw this very clearly. They didn't say you shouldn't feel emotions, but they understood how destructive it is when they rule you. Their profound insight, articulated beautifully by figures like Epictetus, was that our emotions don't come directly from external events. They come from our judgments about those events. Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things." Think about that. The traffic jam doesn't make you angry. Your judgment that this is unfair and frustrating and shouldn't be happening to me is what sparks the anger. The difficult email doesn't make you anxious. Your judgment that this is a disaster and I can't handle it is the source of the fear. The Stoic counter habit to this emotional enslavement is remarkably simple in principle, though challenging in practice. Learn to pause between the initial impression and your reaction. They called these initial sensory inputs or thoughts, impressions. When an impression arrives, say, your boss gives you a harsh look, the knee-jerk reaction might be a judgment. They hate me, I'm going to be fired, leading to fear. The Stoic practice is to intercept that process. Observe the impression calmly, like a gatekeeper. Assess what is trying to enter your mind. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself in his meditations to step back and look at things for what they are, stripped of the judgments we overlay. He urged himself to see the objective reality, not the story he might be tempted to tell himself about it. Instead of immediately ascending to the fearful judgment, you pause. You apply reason. You ask, what is just the observable fact? My boss made a face. Is there concrete evidence they hate me or I'm being fired? Or is that a story my mind is creating? This pause, this application of reason, is where your freedom lies. Seneca, who wrote extensively on the destructive nature of anger, would argue that allowing that initial spark to become a raging fire is a choice, fueled by our judgments. He'd advise catching it early, before it takes hold. By consciously evaluating the judgment fueling the emotion, you gain power. You can question its accuracy, its usefulness. You can choose not to give your assent, your agreement, to the judgment that says this impression is a catastrophe or an outrage. This doesn't mean you suppress feeling. It means you address the root cause, the judgment, and often, the intense, overwhelming emotion simply dissolves because its foundation has been removed. Let's talk about another common habit that Stoicism helps us identify and reshape. It's the habit of chasing pleasure and comfort, often to excess. Think about it. We live in a world that constantly tells us happiness is found in the next indulgence, the softest chair, the richest food, the endless stream of entertainment. And don't get me wrong, enjoying pleasant things isn't inherently bad. But the Stoics saw a danger in making the pursuit of these things our primary driver, or in letting them dictate our choices and actions. When we constantly prioritize comfort and fleeting sensations, we become soft. We lose our edge, we become dependent on externals, things outside of our control. And remember, anything outside your control can be taken away. If your well-being is tied to having the perfect temperature, the perfect meal, or constant amusement, you're setting yourself up for distress when life inevitably throws discomfort your way. The Stoics taught that true good doesn't reside in pleasure or comfort. It resides in virtue, in wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These are internal. They are entirely within your power to cultivate. So, when faced with the choice between a difficult but virtuous path and an easy but compromising one, the person habitually seeking comfort will likely choose ease. The Stoic, however, trains themselves to choose virtue, understanding that this is where real, lasting flourishing is found, not in a momentary wave of pleasure that quickly fades. This brings us to the Stoic counter-practice, temperance and voluntary discomfort. Temperance isn't about denying yourself all pleasure. It's about moderation, about rational control over your desires and impulses. It's about asking, is this truly beneficial or just momentarily appealing? And voluntary discomfort, that sounds harsh, I know, but it's a powerful tool. It's about intentionally stepping away from comfort now and then. Why? To train your resilience, to show yourself that you don't need constant ease to be okay. It's like lifting weights for your mind and spirit. You don't lift weights because pain is good. You do it to build strength. Imagine choosing to walk somewhere when you could drive, or taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or skipping a dessert you really crave, or even taking a cold shower. These aren't acts of self-punishment. They are small, deliberate exercises in detachment from comfort. They are ways of saying to yourself, I am in control of my desires. My comfort level does not define me. By practicing voluntary discomfort, you build tolerance for the unavoidable hardships of life. When genuine difficulty arises, a cold environment, a delayed flight, a simple shortage of something you wanted, you are less shaken. You've practiced being uncomfortable. You've built up that mental and emotional muscle. You understand that you can function, you can think clearly, you can maintain your inner peace, even when external conditions are less than ideal. This practice drowns you. It makes you less reactive to external circumstances and more reliant on your internal strength. It's about shifting your focus from the fleeting satisfaction of pleasure to the enduring strength of virtue and resilience. One of the most common traps we fall into, and one the Stoics observed long ago, is getting utterly stuck in the past. It's like trying to drive forward while staring only in the rearview mirror. You can see where you've been, maybe even analyze the bumps and turns, but it does absolutely nothing to help you navigate the road ahead. It's a guaranteed way to crash or, at the very least, stall out completely. This dwelling, this constant replaying of events that have already happened, things that cannot possibly be changed, is a tremendous drain on our energy and our peace. We replay conversations, regret decisions, lament mistakes, or maybe even cling too tightly to past glories, all while the only moment we actually have power in slips away. The Stoics understood this fundamental truth better than perhaps anyone. They taught us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. Epictetus, in his Enchiridion, lays this out clearly. Some things are up to us, some are not. And the past, my friends, is firmly, unequivocally, undeniably, not up to us. It is the definition of an external event, a finished chapter. Marcus Aurelius reminds us of the brevity of life and the importance of focusing on the present moment, the only moment that is truly ours. Seneca warned extensively about the waste of time, and few things waste time more effectively than agonizing over yesterday. The Stoic response isn't to ignore the past entirely. That would be foolish. We learn from it. Think of it like reviewing your notes after a test. You see where you went wrong, understand the concepts you missed, so you can do better next time. That's valuable, but then you close the book. Dwelling, however, is like trying to erase the answers on the finished test paper, hoping to change your grade. It's impossible and serves no purpose other than to frustrate you and distract you from the new test sitting right in front of you, which is today. The Stoic practice here involves acceptance, a deep, almost loving acceptance of what has already unfolded. This is part of amor fati, the love of fate. It's not about being happy about bad things that happened, but about accepting that they did happen and recognizing that they are an inextricable part of the fabric of this present moment, this version of you. That past event, painful or regrettable as it might have been, led you here. It taught you something, shaped you in some way. Acknowledge the event, extract the lesson, the wisdom gained, the resilience built, the understanding achieved, and then consciously, deliberately, bring your focus back to the here and now. Where is your energy needed right now? Not in the archives of history, but in the living, breathing present moment. Your power, your ability to act virtuously, to make wise choices, to live in accordance with nature and reason, exists only in this instant. Every moment spent mentally living in the past is a moment stolen from your opportunity to live well in the present, to act with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance in the face of whatever is happening right now. So, learn your lessons from the past, give thanks for the experiences that shaped you, accept what is unchangeable, and then turn your full attention and energy to the only time you can truly live, this very second. So, as we wrap up today's discussion, remember those 5 key areas we explored. We looked at the pitfalls of complaining about externals, the subtle trap of needing validation, the energy drain of emotional reactivity, the fleeting emptiness of chasing excessive pleasure, and the heavy burden of dwelling on the past. These are common habits, and identifying them is the crucial first step. But merely knowing isn't enough, is it? Stoicism is not a spectator sport. It's a practice, a discipline applied in the messy, unpredictable laboratory of daily life. The real work begins now, off-screen, in the moment you catch yourself starting to complain, feeling the urge to seek approval, reacting impulsively, reaching for immediate gratification, or replaying old scenes in your mind. This is where you bring the Stoic principles into action. Instead of complaining, ask yourself, what is within my control in this situation? When you feel the pull for external validation, remind yourself that your true worth is intrinsic, residing in your character, your intentions, and your virtue, not in the opinions of others. Facing emotional reactivity, pause, breathe, and apply reason. Understand that events themselves don't disturb you, but your judgments about them do. When tempted by excessive pleasure, practice temperance, finding contentment in moderation and appreciating what you have rather than constantly craving more. And instead of getting lost in the past, anchor yourself firmly in the present moment, focusing your energy and attention on the action required right now. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about building awareness, strengthening your inner citadel brick by brick. I encourage you, right now, to take a moment for introspection. Which of these habits resonates most deeply with you? Where do you find yourself most challenged in applying the Stoic alternatives? Acknowledging these areas without judgment is powerful. It highlights your unique path on this Stoic journey. Think of these challenges not as failures, but as opportunities to practice, to grow, to become more resilient, more virtuous, more truly free. You possess the capacity for this transformation. You have the tools within you. It takes consistent effort, patience, and self-compassion. If this video sparked reflection or offered value, please show your support by giving it a like. It truly helps the channel reach more people who are also exploring this path. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to join our growing community dedicated to applying ancient wisdom in modern life. Hit that notification bell too, so you don't miss future discussions. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Which of these habits are you actively working on? What Stoic practices help you the most? Sharing your experiences not only helps you solidify your understanding but also benefits everyone else on this journey. Engaging with each other strengthens our collective pursuit of wisdom and virtue. Thank you so much for watching, for spending this time with me, and for committing to your own growth. Keep practicing, keep reflecting, and keep striving to live a life guided by reason and virtue. Until next time.